Awesome.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Awesome. Well, March, if you don't mind, I'd like to start off today's Q&A with just a few announcements for insane achievements that have happened this week in the game. Would that be all right?
Of course.
All right. Awesome. So, achievement number one, Deanima has reached level 91 in nature, dethroning Tenoshi as the highest level nature player. RIP Tenoshi. By the way, let's bring Tenoshi in to hear his thoughts on this event. If you wouldn't mind, Marsh, could you bring Tenoshi up on the stage? And
Yep.
uh, the other thing is, I wanted Tenoshi to join us for the Q&A because he's been working on so much Pow Vista stuff, and I think it'd be cool to hear his thoughts on certain things.
For sure.
Tenoshi, what do you have to say for yourself?
Man, all I gotta say is I was slacking, especially once the tools came out. I got to level 90.
Pre-tool.
I got to level like 85 maybe without any tools. But with the tools, man, the XP rates are insane.
Yeah.
Sure.
So in a way, you're
Hard
kind of
and the hard
saying
work from yeah.
you're kind of saying like back in my day, it was much harder to get to level 90. All right. So up
guess
next, we
so.
got Techno has become the first player ever to reach level 70 electric, unlocking the tier 70
man.
electric move Thunderclap. Congratulations, Techno.
Big GZ, big GZ.
Techno's clapping some cheeks with those.
Oh
that
my,
electric.
okay. That's one way to say it. All right. So I wonder how
That's kind
Techno
of
did
fun.
it. Did he use Skelly Friend teleports to get there? Or did he just do any kind of teleport he could get the cores for? I'd be curious to know.
I think the best XP rates you can get is just grind like a ton and then get those rare boards, the 1 in 20s, and then
Mhm.
just literally teleport from the power plant to Rancho Bamba over and over again, and just sacrifice, disintegrate 19 at a time, over and over and over again.
That would make sense. All right. So up next, Yogos, aka Alex, has become the first player ever to reach level 85 steel and craft a blood metal pickaxe, the highest tier mining tool. Congratulations, Yogos. And
Big GZ.
yeah, and we were actually discussing in the Discord just a few hours ago, like what the best XP rates for steel are, and it seems very cash dependent, like how much gold you have. So it seems like part of the best strategy is to actually make money by making tools and then sell those tools and then buy coal bricks and something like that. But yeah,
I think that in
congratulations.
Boston.
Just to get more gold.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Delicium brought up a really good point as well, is that Techno was buying rare boards and TP components to get the electric level up.
So you bought it from other players.
Yes.
Genius move.
All right, so let's go ahead. If anyone wants to join with a question, actually, I'll let March March explain. What did they raise their hand, right, March?
Yes. So what you'll do in order to join, it's going to be one at a time. So I'll say, like, let's say third person to raise their hand, because that was something random I did last time, and the third person to raise their hand will be able to come in and ask their question. And then we'll also go through the forms that we have. So we have currently 6 forms to go through. We went through 5 of them last time. We had only an hour's time, but I think today we slotted like 2 hours for it.
Yeah, I can go up to 2 hours, but we can kill it
Yeah,
if
just
it.
as need be.
Yeah. Cool.
But for sure, like, we will be able to hopefully get through all the forums. If anyone has any questions now, feel free to raise your hand, and first person that pops up, I'll bring in. All right, first person to pop up is Radar VR or Radar VR.
So I'm
Welcome.
new to the game. I was just wondering what's the fastest way to like get a steal? Because I was struggling with that.
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a great question. March or Tenoshi, do either of you want to take this one?
I will gladly take it if you don't want to for
Go for it.
nothing.
Go for it, March.
Go ahead.
All right, so I'd say the fastest way to get XP and steel is just get the components needed for making the fishing rods of each tier. So what I did to level up personally, and it tends to go pretty fast, um, is you just stack up a bunch of the resources, and then you just go back and forth. I use the Torii anvil because it's close to the bank. Go back and forth making fishing rods. It's the best XP, not like the very, very best, because you also have the choice of axe and pickaxe at the respective levels. But fishing rods, because it's only 2 bars or gems, will be the fastest way to go. And then once you get to gold, which is at level 60, you also have the choice of buying like coal bricks and gold ore from the Forge Keeper and Rancho. So you can make a ton of bars and then forge all those bars into fishing rods and then make profit that way.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That'll help.
Yeah. By the way,
Yeah, for sure.
I just want to say, Radar, thanks so much for checking out the game, dude. If you don't mind me asking, I know this is supposed to be like a Q&A for us, but like if you don't mind me asking you a question, like how'd you find out about the game?
Just searching on Steam.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's amazing. So like, what do you just like use the browse feature, or like how did you find it?
The browse feature, like I just searched up free games and it popped up.
That's awesome.
Dude.
I'm so glad to hear it. Well, thanks so much for checking out the game. By the way, just to make sure we weren't talking too much over your head there, I'm curious, like, have you gotten any steel experience yet, or like what is your steel level so far?
I'm about to get to level 30.
Okay, so you understand the basics for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
Yeah,
yeah,
something I wasn't aware of is I didn't realize you could be selling your tools. I didn't realize, if you make 100 gold pickaxes, you could sell those to the shop to earn gold to buy coal bricks from the blacksmith.
that's right.
Yeah.
I never realized that.
Yeah, that's right.
awesome.
You can also turn them into bank cards and sell just the whole bank card stack at once to the shop as well.
Oh, you can make them
Mhm.
into bank cards and sell them? Okay. I'm learning a lot of great strategies right now.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right, this Q&A is getting off to a great start. Thank you so much again, Radar, for the question. We can go ahead and go to the next question. If anyone
for
wants to
sure.
raise their hand. In the meanwhile, while we're
In
waiting,
the meantime, I got a question.
go for it.
I just got to think of it first.
Okay.
No, my question is, are you going to include shinies for the Bomba skateboard, the Forest skateboard, and the normal skateboard?
Wow, I never had plans to do that. Like, how would you like get that shiny? I'm curious. Like, is it when you buy for the shop?
No. It'd be you know how like I'm killing gargoyles right now, and they're dropping a bunch of these Bomba skateboards. What if there was a 1 in 2,000 chance, or I guess I should say 1 in 200 chance that whatever the rarity is, it should be the same
Yeah.
rarity, but that amount of chance that the skateboard will be a shiny. Because I think it would be really cool if you could just, when you open up the POW decks and then toggle on the shiny, it'd be awesome for me personally if there's a 1-to-1 like fit for all of the standards, because there's 190 standard items, but then there's only 102. I guess the eggs don't show up on the shiny, I don't think.
Shiny egg?
Yeah, the eggs
Um,
don't show up, and then all the
right.
chickens as well.
Right.
That's right.
So that's my question is if you're willing to put in the time to do a shiny variation on literally every single Powdex entry.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, we could always. I do like being decoupled just because it allows us to add something that doesn't have a shiny to the main
Right.
Powdex. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm interested if anyone else is interested. The one thing that I don't want would be like someone's grinding for a shiny and then they like get a shiny notification, like a notification where it says shiny at the top, and then it's like a huge letdown because it's like, oh, another shiny Bomba board. While you're like trying to grind for the shiny gargoyle.
Oh, so even if you already have it in your inventory, in your Powdex logged, it still gives you the notification,
Oh, I guess it doesn't give you the
not right
notification.
this moment.
or only for the
Yeah.
first time?
I don't know why I was imagining the notification like re-showing, but it would be, I don't know, just like you see the action, like you see the little action pop up for like pick up shiny, and then it's like, oh, another shiny Bomba board. I don't know. Like I was
Right.
just trying to
I
think
think-
like, would that be like almost like shiny slop? You know what I mean?
I feel like we should at least have some notifications for shinies. Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
already hard enough to see them when they're in the stack. If there's not a priority for them, they're towards the
Mm.
bottom, so they can just straight up vanish.
By the way, Marsh, I
Um,
think it was thanks to you that we added that prioritization. So right now, the way it works is
yes.
shiny items and items will show up based on their rarity, like on the ground. Like you'll never have like
Wow.
gold blocking a shiny hoodie or something like that. So
Mhm.
at least we have that. But yeah, like, we should have a game message that like, hey, you got a shiny drop.
Or when the item drops, have a shiny sparkle play off of it. Kind of like
Oh,
when
That
you
would
click
be
it.
cool.
Oh,
It'd
that'd
be
be
cool
awesome.
if just on the loot pile there's like oh, I just got a shiny gargoyle board. Holy crap.
Hey, congrats.
Awesome.
There you go.
I'm trying to get this shiny gargoyle pal. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but I want it.
It's gonna look fire. I can guarantee that much.
Loot
Ooh,
beams would be sick. That's what Mrs. Illuminati says.
yes, loot
That'd be
beams would be a good
awesome.
idea.
I agree.
And Steven, you've had that idea before, right? You talked about how Fortnite has little lights that pop up from things, right?
Yeah, sure. Like
And
just
then
the color.
RuneLight,
Yeah. Oh yeah,
RuneLight for
RuneLight.
old school
color.
RuneScape. They have loot beams
Right.
as well, and you can actually like change the loot beams with one of their plugins. But those would be pretty big for sure, and definitely like what you were just saying, Tenoshi. There is the Fortnite loot beam, so if I
Yeah.
were to pull up like the loot beams off Fortnite, see if I can even find a good example.
Yeah, the color.
Yeah. By the
Um,
way, if anyone comes up with a question at any time, feel free to raise your hand and we'll bring you in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
The line is empty right now. All right, Thylidium, let's go. We got to get Thylidium in here.
There you are. Welcome on in.
Hey ho.
Hey.
Yo.
What's up?
What's up? Just wondering, like my question was about like I think it's been asked before, but I didn't know if I saw an answer. Like, would we ever get like death tasks for bosses? Because I think with the way it scales with death skills, right? Well, I think that could be pretty challenging and actually pretty interesting to do.
I totally agree.
I feel like we've talked
That's a
about this
phenomenal
before.
idea. Yeah.
I think I remember making a suggestion about it. It was to have like a static 1 in 20 chance for a boss task. So you always have that very low percentage to get it, and then it'd be a lower amount. So rather than, I think it caps at what, 120 right now. Rather than it be at 120, it'd be like 10 or 20 of the boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be even cooler if it. I mean, I wonder how difficult it would be with like the damage scaling and stuff that we currently have, and I wonder even if on top of that we can add something cool with boss tasks, like some kind of special mechanic or something once we have boss mechanics. There's also I also wanted to share another idea we had related to death tasks, which is one of the most disappointing things for people that they share with us is that they go and they finish their Skelly Friend death task, and then they come back and Skelly Friend's like, all right, thank you. Now here's another one, and there's like no reward for like doing the task every time. So me and Phil, aka Tenoshi, were brainstorming last night, 4th of July, fireworks going. We were brainstorming about like what would be the most ideal like little reward that you could get every time you complete a death task. And our wives were there also like pitching in ideas. And
Yes.
one of the ideas that came up that sounded cool would be like, now hear me out. If you're like I mean, I know some of us here have gotcha histories here, but the idea is that it would be like a giant slot machine that you get like one ticket to like do the giant slot machine, and then you get like all these cool like cosmetics that are like death, maybe aesthetic or death related. Like you could have like Skelly Friend variants, or you could have like cursed versions of like all the NPCs.
Dude.
Like a
Yes.
cursed goblin hoodie, you know what I mean, or something. And maybe it could even be based on the tasks that you've completed so far, like in that loot pool from that slot machine. But anyway, so like I know like we don't want to like lean into gambling too hard, but that was just one idea of like having a like cool like dopamine reward at the end of a death task.
I
kinda
like
remind-
the idea that you pitched at some point that you would be able to get like kind of like in Slayer's task in RuneScape when you unlock like the bigger and badder it's called in RuneScape, I think, where you
Yes,
have like bigger mobs that
the
comes in at
the
some point,
superiors.
and yeah, the superior mobs that you could like beat, and then they give like different rewards or something, but they're really rare to get. But that could be something to strive for, whatever the rewards, of course. But like that could be also interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, love that. We were talking about corrupted mobs, right? Right, March. The
Mhm.
idea that
Yes.
you have like a basically a rare chance to spawn a corrupted mob during a Slayer task, and it's like a basically like a very tough version of the mob. Was there anything else related to that idea? Like, would it also be larger?
I don't think it was like larger. I think the big thing, because it kind of, even though it was kind of joked about at the same time, was the addition of shiny variants having like a 1 in 1,000 chance for them to spawn. And
Yeah.
then someone pitched in, and I kind of like this idea, is that standard would be a 1 in 2,000, and then during a death task, it's 1 in 1,000. So it's like you can still get that quote unquote superior in a sense, and like off task or on task, and then from there you would have the chance to get the items.
Okay, that's
Um,
cool. Yeah.
let's see.
Yeah, I think I like both ideas, like having corrupted mobs and having like corrupted items would be insane. That would be
That's
great.
cool.
Yeah, imagine
Yeah,
having
yeah.
a hoodie that like has the little, death carbon particles floating up from you like
Ooh.
as you skate around.
Yeah.
And then those particles change based off your death level.
Dude.
Oh,
Yeah,
that'd
it's
be
just like
sick.
you're like
Oh, that's
fuming.
crazy.
You're level 100, you just have fumes
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah. Hey, how do you guys feel about like should your pal like get cursed with death carbon if it's like killing death carbon, like it like catches the plague?
Um, I feel like if we did, it'd be like a temporary buff in a sense. This is just like my personal thought on it, because if we were to have it permanently, then it might throw players off like, oh, what do I do to fix this? Is my pal forever like this? So if we have like a temporary buff where it's just like during a login period or like 10 minutes or something, and just like
Or maybe
as
you have to kill
examples.
your pal to cure it.
Oh my god.
Oh.
To-
And it
you have
like
to
counts
kill your
towards your
pal,
task.
You have to fight it.
It gives you
Oh
death XP.
man. Drops 2 death carbon instead of 1.
Yeah. And it never
Must put the
respawns.
carbon emissions to an end.
Gosh,
Um
that's crazy. Well,
And I scrolled back up and I saw your idea about the corrupted NPC. I think rather than have it be like 100 times stronger, maybe if we can have it like be auto aggressive. So if we were to have that
Definitely.
shiny variant, have them be auto aggressive, and then
oh, that's sick.
rather than multiplying, it'll get other NPCs around it to start attacking you. So it's not like you see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth of the shiny variant NPC, but have it to be it's that NPC, and then it drags in its fellow variant or its fellow NPCs around you in order to start attacking.
Yeah, I like that because if it just duplicated, that would actually like, if they all gave drops, it would like duplicate your RNG. Like it would improve your RNG on the drops. Which, by the way, should
Yeah.
it just drop like shiny items? Like, what do you think it should drop?
I think rather than dropping shiny items, it should have a double loot roll. So one loot roll would be like, for example, you said killing it drops 1,000 death carbon or something. I know that was like a huge number. Maybe we can have it scale down to 100 as its loot pool, and then you're guaranteed to get death carbon on top of an item. So you can get another board, you can get another hoodie, you can get another egg, so on and so forth.
And to circle back on this, like it could be like just a corrupted version of a shiny item that it can drop that is really rare with the particles. So the only way to get a shiny item with particles would be to beat these corrupted mobs, something like this.
That's interesting.
I feel like if we were to do that, we'd have to mess with the scaling of the items. So like the NPC board would go from 1 in 20 to like 1 in 5. For the egg, it would drop down to like a 1 in 20. So just like scale it down,
yeah,
and then
yeah, make it
have
less
the
rare.
rates of those Yeah, and then those corrupted shinies, like you were just talking about, Felicium, we can have those to be as if they're the same rates as the shiny items. So 1 in 2,000 and then 1 in 10,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would keep the crazy rarity because like we have to remember that like there's also a rarity to like spawn the corrupted NPC in the first place, right? Or the
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
like so like let's say it's 1 in 1,000 for that. Should it be no? It wouldn't be 1 in 1,000. It would be like 1 in 100 or something.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we can mess with those numbers, of course.
But I think
Um,
that would push more people, like you said, like death tasks. Like you said, you were like brainstorming around it. Like there's at some point, like if you're hunting for shinies, you're not really doing death tasks that much. But
yeah.
this would actually put people over the edge to actually do it, even if it's extremely rare. Like it's just one more level. But of course, you'd have like to tweak the numbers around a bit. Of course.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Shadow Flame, we're doing 1% at a time, so I'll like mentally keep a note that you're wanting in.
yeah,
You can feel free to leave your hand up as well.
yeah.
Just wanted to let you know before we
Do you have
continue
one
on.
more question? By the way, is it dilithium or a thylitium? How do you say your name?
I'm French, so it's Tilitium, but Tilitium
Oh,
is
so it's
So kind of like how I was
Tilitium.
saying it.
great.
Okay, I need to learn
It's
how to say it.
whatever. It's whatever.
Yeah. Do you have any other
Like
questions
Tilitium.
before
No,
we
it's
bring
all
up Shadow
good.
Flame?
Thank you for answering and for bringing up all the thoughts you have on death. This is really, really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, of
Appreciate
course.
the ideas.
Thank you for joining in. Now I'll bring you in, Shadow Flame. Ooh, that's a good one. Making sure that the variant
Hello.
can't be thrown off the map. Welcome in, Shadow Flame.
Hi, I just had a question. So first off, how do you check stats in the game?
What do you
I'm a
mean?
very new player. Like
Oh,
the
no
stats
problem.
of a skateboard, of your PAL, of everything.
Oh, so what you can do, assuming you're playing on PC, you can press like 2 and it'll bring up your character menu so you can see your board equipped, your hoodie equipped, if you have a hoodie equipped, and then your pal equipped. To check your board stats, you would press the little shield and sword icon on the left side, and then for the pal, it's going to be the 3 dots on the right side.
Oh, all right. And to that question, is there a best PAL or best skateboard in the game yet?
Nope, not right now. Everything's like pretty evenly matched across the whole game. So the big thing is just like elemental advantage, pretty much. So if you're fighting Embermaw, you'd want a water board or an earth board. Just so then you have that improved damage. And then on top of that, if you were to have a shiny variant, those shiny variants will scale with your elements level. So let's say you have 30 earth, you would have the level 30 enchant on that earth board. Without having to go to Skelefriend's altar and then enchant the board itself. So you'll always have access to being able to equip a shiny board without any restriction compared to like a paladin board. That's just like going way out where you have that level requirement unless you were to enchant the board. That requires you to get to that point of being able to equip it. So you'd have to get the correct nature level or above in order to equip it.
All right.
Yeah, Shadow, does because you mentioned you're a super new player, are you familiar with enchanting skateboards yet?
No, I just heard about that from him.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah. So yeah, the idea is that basically any skateboard that you like the look of can technically like be competitive with other skateboards through enchanting. So like you can make, even though an Embermoss skateboard requires 30 fire to equip, you could technically take any fire type skateboard and enchant it with the level 30 enchantment to basically be just as good and have the same bonuses. And if you want to learn more about it, you can go in your skills tab by the way, are you on PC?
PC and phone.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, like on your phone, it's like, it's the, the skills icon and on it's like the little bars going up. And then on PC, I think you could just press the 3 on your keyboard to bring it up. But like, you'll see all your skills there, like the skate skill and the strength and the hit point skill. You know, like
I've
what the
seen
skills
those
tab is.
skills. Yeah.
So like you can click on the death one, which is the skull, and that's where you learn about like enchanting skateboards. Hope that helps.
All right. Yeah, that helped. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome.
Do keep in mind you need the required death level as well to enchant them.
How do I upgrade my death level?
You would talk to Skellefriend. So rather than kill Skellefriend, he does give 1 death XP. You can talk to him, and then you can get a death task or a death carbon task, and that'll be placed onto an NPC type. The NPCs will scale up, so they'll be stronger. And then you would just go to their location, kill them, and then go back to Skellefriend, repeat that over and over. And you can also sacrifice pals. So if you were to have like a level 10 pal, depending on what your death level is, you would get the base XP times 10. So let's say you're at level 70, which I'm at right now. I think I get 1400 XP, so you get like 14,000 XP at level 10.
Yeah, it's
Jeez.
it's a little complicated to explain, but yeah. By the way, do you know where Skelly Friend is? Like when we're saying Skelly Friend, do you know where that is?
I don't.
Okay,
I've
that's
heard
okay.
a lot about him though from looking things up.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so like on OG Island, you can kind of see like a little, and this is like right in the starting area where you walk outside of the house. You can see like in the distance a little like purple little skull thing. Do you know what I'm talking about there?
Here,
I
I'll,
think so,
I'll
yeah.
share my screen real fast. So I'm pulling up the game right now.
Yeah, let's look at
Should be able to see that. If you were to press that, it will also like increase the size so you can see it a bit better. So I'm
He's right
up by
next
the
to
zombies
Skellefriend.
because I've been grinding zombies. So just to kind of like give an idea of where to go. So if you were to go left from your starting area, you get to the goblins. So you'll go up over this way. You go past the zombies here. So you just go up right past it. Think of it like going to the volcano trial, which is starting right here. And then you go down to the skeletons, and then you have this altar right here with Skellefriend. So you come down
Oh.
here and talk to him. And I already have a task right now, if I recall. So he's just gonna say I have the task already. But he tells you this, so he'll give the NPC name, and then he has like little dialogue about it. And then you'd go to their location. So if I were to go to Briarwoods, I would go to the forest over on Tory, and then to the Briarwood location and fight them. That's quite literally all there is to it. So it's starting from here. Once you get through the NPC gates, you can get up to that point.
All right. Thank you.
Hope that clarifies
Yeah,
things. By the
of
way,
course.
I wanted to ask real quick before you go, Shadow Flame. I wanted to ask, how did you find out about Pow Vista? I'm just so curious.
TikTok marketing.
Awesome.
I've seen like at least 5 of your videos on my For You page, and the one that convinced me was actually a video of someone killing Skelly Friend on a bot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. I'm so glad you enjoy those videos. I'm the person who makes a lot of those videos, so it's a huge honor.
Yeah, I thought it was cool and looked awesome to play the game. So
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks so much, Shadow. Appreciate it. If anyone else wants to raise their hand, we can do another question. And yeah.
Sure.
So cool
Shadow,
that
if you
there's
don't
so
mind, I'm
many
going to
new
move you back
players.
to the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Stephen.
Sorry. So yeah,
No worries.
while we're waiting for, and like, don't feel any pressure to raise your hand, guys. I know it's a lot of pressure to come up here on stage. I mean, I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think, what do you guys think the average age of a Pow Vista player is roughly?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I would guess like 25 to 30.
And what,
Yeah.
what would you
It
guess,
would-
Marsh?
It'd be like maybe low mid-20s, as the average. So I'd say between 22 to 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, chat is the people are saying 15 to 17. Dionama is saying I'm old as fuck.
If I recall, he's in his
Brody is saying
50s.
25.
Wait, someone's actually in
Yeah.
their 50s?
Yeah.
Wait, who?
Yeah, if I recall, he had mentioned it. Dionama.
Oh, wow.
I think I said that right.
Dude,
Yeah.
he's got that like generational power to like beat Tenoshi on the leaderboard. He's been like training his whole life.
He played classic RuneScape.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Back when old school RuneScape was just RuneScape.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's curious. I wonder like what the average age of RuneScape was back when we were kids. Like if like was it also like 25-year-olds or was it all little kids? You know, because
I would say it's maybe in the teens for
yeah,
back when the game released, because a lot of people were like in high school when they were playing, if not up to their mid-20s. And
yeah,
then from there, because they played for so long, they're at a much older age rating in a sense, or median age.
yeah. I'm thinking about this because I'm thinking about like how do we reach the people that would love Pow Vista, right? Because I know there are those people out there in the world because I know like I've seen all the people here and like there's got to be more people like us out there, and like now it's just a matter of like how do we send the right signals out to the world and make sure we're not like representing the game in a way that's like too different to where people come and join and it's like what they expected isn't there, but just getting our message out to people. And I'm thinking about like the first time I found old school RuneScape, which was actually just RuneScape at the time, which was I think my parents had said no more computer games because I had basically gained weight as a kid because my brothers were all playing outside. Meanwhile, I'm just like playing Lord of the Rings, War of the Ring, which is kind of like an Age of Empires game. And like I had all these computer games because I had gone to a computer camp and they had like a computer game store there, and I had spent all my like birthday money and stuff on computer games. But I was playing it so much that my parents said no more computer games, so I had to get rid of them all. But then
Oh my gosh.
but then it was like a month later, I was like just like, all I had I had no computer games anymore, but I had like a computer. And I'm like, I looked up like free 3D game online, and then it's like the first thing was like RuneScape, MMORPG 3D online. And I'm like, what is MMORPG? But by the way, I'm like in 6th grade at this point, or maybe 5th grade. And I clicked on it and I just remember like doing the tutorial island thing. And this must have been like 2005 or something. And I remember the sound effects. And like I remember my dad saying like, "Are you playing a game?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's like an online game. It's just in the browser." And he's like, "Okay, that's okay." So like that was a huge selling point. Like thank you to RuneScape for like not being a box game and being an online game.
For real.
Otherwise, I probably would have never discovered it. But like that was an example where I'm like browsing and searching for a game, right? And I wonder, like we just talked to somebody here who found us on Steam by searching, Radar found us on Steam by searching Pow Vista. I wonder, we really need to make that like store page, like more clearly communicate
Attractive
what the game is.
and clear. Yeah.
Exactly. Which we did do the website recently, which I think does a pretty good job of that. But
I love the pixel art you leaned into on that.
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, it looks really good. Like I loaded it up on my phone when you announced it. I was like, ooh, it's like really nice.
yeah, that was all thanks to Gimme Degway is this guy's name, and he totally designed like a prototype of the website before even being paid. He designed a whole like prototype of it, sent it to me, and I was just like so amazed. I was like shut up and take my money. But he did a great, and now he's working on the wiki, which we have a new wiki, by the way, guys, that is finally up to date. Thanks to our amazing
Incredible.
wiki team. And I just want to give a shout out to every member of the wiki team here. I want to shout out Jen.
WWiki team.
If you go to wiki.powvista.com, I'll link it in the chat. It's incredible. And
I
it's
have it
not
pulled up right now.
By the way, it's not like we're still. Gimme Degway is still working on making it look prettier and stuff, but he's actually made a lot of progress here. But everything on here is actually up to date, which is insane. And so shout out to Britt, shout out to Rice, and shout out to Jin, and of course Gimme Degway, who's been helping us as well with like using code to help us. We're working on like getting all the drop tables on the wiki because right now we don't have any of that, at least to my knowledge. But we do have skill guides. So the best place to go is to the skills overview and to click on any of the skills. And you can see, like, if you click on electric, for example, it has every board and every cores gained from every board being disintegrated in the XP amount. And then let me see if I'm going to go to steel and see. Yeah, it looks like every single item for steel and the XP and even the times per attempt. Time per attempt?
I think it's the
Oh.
time spent like crafting and everything.
Oh, no, I think that might be what it's trying to communicate, but actually the more accurate way to say is like this tool will like fish 2.2 times per second versus because like crafting any item takes the same amount of time, 1 second. So I think
Oh, I see.
yeah.
Yeah, it's basically saying, so if you were to look at like blood metal fishing rod, for example, it's saying it'll like go off every 0.6 seconds, so every
Yeah.
game tick.
Once you're using that tool. But anyway, the point is the information is all like there on the wiki, thanks to our amazing wiki team that's like putting that all together. And it hasn't been easy. It's been a little bit of trial and error where like we uploaded every single item icon, then we had to do it again because we did it wrong. But anyway, it's been a fun journey, and thank you to the wiki team. And or I should say, Talitium asks, is anyone able to push edits to the wiki? Currently not, but we can enable that. It's kind of a different wiki than your standard wiki. We used to have a standard wiki, but it was riddled with ads, and I just hated the ads. So we use something called Notion to make the wiki. And so we can get access to anybody who's interested in joining the wiki team. I kind of like the idea of having it be like more of an exclusive thing to edit it because
Right.
because then like, you know, when you have access, there's kind of like more of an obligation to contribute. Because we kind of had a tragedy of the commons with our previous wiki where, you know, like how you drive on the freeway and you see like trash on the side of the freeway. That's the tragedy of the commons for anyone who isn't familiar with that term. It's like when no one owns it, it's like, who cares about it? Anyway, and like technically, I guess I would own the wiki, but I just wasn't focused on it. But yeah, at least like when you have like special access to edit it, you know, maybe that's more of like a, hey, like I have ownership over this wiki, you know. And like, dude, speaking of ownership over the wiki, as soon as possible, we need to have a Hall of Legends in Pow Vista to just give the glory and I shouldn't say the glory,
An
but
honor, due respect.
the honor and due respect
the
to
glory and
yeah. Like in this Pow Vista realm, the adequate thanks and appreciation that you guys deserve for like just helping out the game. And I'll tell you what, like right in the front of that Hall of Legends somewhere would be a statue of March because March has been incredibly helpful. And Tenoshi as well.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Where's the statue of you, though?
You know what we should do? We should have one big statue of me in the middle, and then all the statues are bowing down to me. No, I'm just kidding. This is like biblical.
You know, not a bad idea.
You know how in Pokemon in Rustboro City, there's the Game Freak Studio. There's the Game Freak Studio where all the Game Freak people work. You should maybe do something like that in Hype City. Who knows?
Definitely want to do that. In fact, one of my early ideas with Servers Offline, our lead dev, was like, and this is also with Bardo when he was on the team as a QA tester back in the day. This is like 2 years ago. Was let's make like a office building where we like have our daily meetings and like in game we like meet there in game. We never did it because it's like, you know, I don't know, we just didn't do it. But that would be sick to have something like that Game Freak Studio in Hype City where it's, you know, just like a floor on a high-rise building or something, you know, and it's like
exactly
for sure. Yeah. And then like what you can do on top of that, because you know how when you complete the Pokedex in the Pokemon games and you were to go to the Game Freak headquarters, if you speak to, I think it's the CEO or president of Game Freak, you get the special award, and at least in the later games, you could do something like that. When you complete the Powedex, you go up there and then you get the special items from like your NPC, for example, Steven.
Totally. I love that. Yeah, and also like I think it'd be cool too if you like anyone who completes the Powedex gets to be somewhere in the Hall of Legends. You know what I mean? Because it's like how like there should be some some hallway in the Hall of Legends where it's like it just goes down infinitely until the last person that's completed the Powedex is there. It's almost like an IRL, or not IRL, but like an in-game leaderboard. That's like the first people to complete the Powedex are right in the front of it, and then you like walk back as far as it goes. That way, it's like, you know, it can stand the test of time as more people complete the Powedex over time. Because you know,
It
who knows?
reminds me of
The
gym
ever-growing
statues.
Powdex. Oh yeah,
If you
the gym
when you,
statues.
when you speak to them before and after completing the gym leader fights, you can see like your rival's name. Then you can see your name on there. Kind of have something like that.
Oh,
So
that's
then
cool.
you see the first person's name, and you can have like 4 names per section. So it'd be like me, for example, whoever finishes next, and then person after that, and after that. Then when you go to like the next sign, you can see 4 more names and keep going down.
Yeah. I think that's cool. I think that's a wonderful idea because like just more stuff to like reward you and like also like stuff to like dream about as you're playing the game because like with all of these games you're always like thinking towards the future and like, you know, what am I going to unlock and like is there like a light at the end of the tunnel of this grind kind of thing. And I think the more lights that we can have at the end of the tunnel the better. Someone said
For
you
sure.
mentioned Pokemon, looks like no more Pow Vista, sad face. And what he's saying is that you know, we're gonna get like a cease and desist letter tomorrow.
Oh no!
Someone says I would commit on coding Pow Vista on Roblox. Yeah.
Wow.
Kenoshi, if I recall, you used to do devlogs for Roblox, right? Because I did see mention
I
of it in your
did,
chat
and it's
before.
so funny you mentioned this because I was talking to Steven, and this was before the Wait Dot video. I was like, Steven, you realize if Pow Vista was on Roblox, everyone would go bat crazy, and then they'd all want to play Pow Vista so badly if it was just on Roblox, which is kind of true. Like if Roblox was if Pow
a big
Vista was in
platform.
Roblox, everyone
Yeah.
would love it. You know, they'd be blown away because the quality is so much higher than any game you've played on Roblox. You
I mean,
know?
how crazy would it be
Yeah.
if there was like a basically like just like how we have Pow Vista available on Steam and iOS and Android, like there's also like a Roblox version. And basically what it does is it connects with the main game. So like you just see a bunch of like Roblox characters in the Pow Vista world. But they don't look like Roblox characters, although that would be pretty funny if they did. But
yeah.
but they look like no. Here's what's even better, okay? The Roblox players don't have to obey the same rules as Pow Vista, so they can just like run around in 3D and like jump on things. And like as a Pow Vista player, you just see them like doing obbies like on the volcano and stuff.
Watch some foot stomp Skelefriends like, what in the world?
Yeah, that would be
Oh, is
something
there a
else.
way to get it as a Discord activity? Are you talking about so that
Yeah.
you can have Pow Vista displayed on your beneath your username?
Oh yeah,
No,
yeah.
I think they mean like as an activity because you have the activities which are like mini games in a sense.
Yeah.
Oh.
The problem is
So,
there's
like, if you're
certain
the-
limits on those. Like they can't be bigger than a certain size, and the game is like over a gigabyte in size. I wonder.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing about the Discord thing because anything to like lower the entry bar for people to like jump in and try out the game, I think is super cool. But even before that,
Yeah.
we had the creator of an MMO that I look up to. Someone named Helior who invented Ginfinad. I reached out to him a week ago and I was like, can you like, would you be willing to do like a little consult for Pow Vista and like give me your recommendations on like what we should change and like what we might be missing and like things you've learned running an MMO and that kind of thing. For those who don't know Ginfinad, it's short for generic fantasy adventure, and it's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek MMO that feels a lot like RuneScape Classic. But it had a lot of players in its like heyday, and I was wondering if I could learn anything from Helior on this. And his main feedback was just that you need to get players into the fun of Pow Vista way quicker. Because right now, when you join the game, you like see a sign up screen that's like not the prettiest sign up screen. So that's like one opportunity for people to just like leave the game. Then they have to like sign up, which is, you know, a little bit of cumbersome. Then even after they sign up, they still have to click enter world when it could just like be like you sign up and it automatically enters the world for you. And then you're like in a house and you don't really, you know, and like I like starting out in a house, but the point is like there's so many steps and then like finally, and then like you get interrupted by plop and your screen like, you know, jerks down and like, which by the way, that needs to be way smoother. But then it's like if you finally get to the goblins and you're like killing goblins and seeing the numbers go up and the numbers go down, like the number that you have to kill go down, your XP going up, you're like leveling up. you get a skateboard and you see you need 5 nature, and like you've already chopped a tree, so you know how to get nature skill. Like if you can get that far, then it's like you understand Pow Vista,
You're
and
in
you can
it.
keep going. But like one of our big problems, I think, is that a certain percentage of players are just like not getting that far. Another big benefit to that would be like making videos that explain that that's the fun of Pow Vista better, you know? Because I don't think we have too many videos that make it super clear that that's what Pow Vista is right away. But anyway, I
I
kind
think
of went off on
having
a tangent.
I think having a video series like I had asked before, where it's like a short video guide on how to do certain things would be very big for promoting the game and then pushing it out for more players.
I totally agree. What would be those big pillars, and or like the big, like the things that come to mind first when it comes to like the top 3 features of Pow Vista that you would make guides on? I'm curious, and like I'd also be interested to know Tenoshi's thoughts as well if you want to weigh on. But March, what do you think?
My big thing would be like right off the bat, how to level certain skills with your pal. Because a lot of people ask, how do I get my pal to do things? Because I see other people's pals running around, fighting, chopping trees, fishing. How is mine supposed to do that? The second thing would be, just like we were asked before, XP and the best ways to get XP in certain skills. So like Shadow Flame's question about for steel. And then for death, on top of that, like having each separate skill in its own video, but teaching like how to train them and how you can even like get the death tasks, for example.
I totally agree.
Another big thing is like what the drops, how the drops work, because a lot of people tend to ask as well, what are the rates for certain items? And even though they're pretty much uniform across the board, with only like a couple exceptions, having a series, or not a series, but like a video explaining the different rarities, and how those work.
Yeah,
Yeah, kind of like this Fallout special videos. That's a very good example, Shadow.
I haven't seen those. I'll have to check those out. Because yeah, like the thing is, if you have the knowledge that, like, for example, the 3 of us have about the game, it's a lot easier to, for example, like maybe get someone into the game and explain to them things. If we could just get that knowledge out to more people, where like even if someone's just curious about the game and they don't want to install it yet, they can watch a video about it and learn that knowledge, and then they've like got that knowledge with them. And if they ever decide to play the game, they're going to be less likely to like leave when it reminds me of like for example, I got Final Fantasy 14 on my PS5, and like you launch it up and it's like so confusing. You have to like use your PS4 controller to like move a mouse on like a little box that's like a browser window to sign up your account. It's like crazy, like bad UI, but it's like this is a game that gets millions of in revenue, and there's a reason. Like the reason is because people know there's like a light at the end of the tunnel of this like sign up process. You know what I mean? So like they didn't even have to optimize their sign up process, at least on PlayStation. And they're like they spend millions of dollars on the game. So it's like just getting that information out to people in itself like will help more people stay on the train and like not jump shit, or I just like use 2 vehicles, but stay on the boat and like not jump ship before they get to like the fun of Pow Vista. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
and we have to figure out what are those moments where you're like, wow, this is actually fun, like, and try to get as many people to that moment as possible. But do you have any thoughts on this, Tenoshi?
Yeah, first of all, I think everyone, I mean, raise your hand if you disagree. I don't think anyone will disagree. The PAL UI sucks, like really bad. I was explaining it to my wife just yesterday because she was confused. I said, okay, go to the person icon at the bottom of your phone, and then click on the 3 dots, and then click on the current task, and then a tiny little white box appears with like 2 words on it. And then put your finger on there and then swipe up to go down.
Like the microscopic
and then you can find exactly. It's like, oh, you swipe past the chopped fur. Okay, go back up. Oh, too far up. Back and forth. And it's like, okay, why aren't there just big old buttons that even like my niece Lily could like, push so easily, like
Completely.
big buttons that's like, this is Mind Clay. this is chop fur, and this is bodyguard. I think bodyguard should just be called combat or something, or attack, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just my thoughts.
And like they should be like there should be like symbols where it's like even like
yeah,
a
it's
4-year-old
not
can figure it out.
intuitive whatsoever, right? It feels like a minimal viable product.
Yeah, and it
has the
and that's
minimal
exactly what it
viability.
is. Yeah, so
yeah.
I think it should be like you
Now-
select your current task and the whole screen shows up with like possible
Yeah.
tasks, and also certain ones are grayed
Yeah.
out and say like, you know, get your pal to level X to use this one.
I love
Or
that.
like,
I love
Ooh.
that.
You have to like pay money to use this one, or you know, that kind
Exactly. It would be so cool if you had to like put and we've talked about this. This is Steven's idea, but to expand on Steven's idea of having like food, like fuel your pal. Imagine if the pal could always do the basic task, but if you wanted it to mine mithril or emerald or sapphire, you need to do the feeding, you know, and then that fuels like a higher level task.
Yeah, there has to be some
That's an
resource
idea.
cost to it, because otherwise it's like even more overpowered than running a RuneScape bot to get resources. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's like
Yeah,
it's like a
'cause it's, like,
sanctioned
allowed.
RuneScape bot, and it's like
Yeah.
and it like works 100% of the time. Well, I guess not. I guess there are sometimes
Yeah,
bugs.
it's not only
80%.
sanctioned,
you,
but it's
you don't get
also,
kicked
like,
out. Yeah. Like you never come back and find that your bot got, you know, ruined
Yeah.
by someone, or like you got banned. So, and like the
Right.
only issue with that is that the resources will just become, you know, basically worthless to any kind of player to player trading.
Mhm.
But if there
Yeah,
is some kind of
yeah.
trade off, then it becomes kind of a cool thing.
Exactly. Like literally every minute it has to take up like a unit of food or something.
Yeah.
every
I
second.
think also having the respective tool tier would be a good
Oh yes.
portion to that.
Sort of like Minecraft. Sort of like
Yeah.
Minecraft, where like in order to mine diamonds you need iron or something like that.
And then instead of like having it like that, where you have a lower tier allowing you to mine it, what if we did it to where you have to have like a hard clay to mine coal, have sapphire to mine sapphire, mithril to mine mithril, so on and so forth.
That way the player themselves has to, or they could trade, but like normally the player would have to get to that level first.
Yeah, so there's that
Yeah.
form of progression or even interaction with the community in order to get to that point. So having mix of both of the food units and then having the required tool type.
Yeah.
That's smart. I think another great thing that you guys were talking about was about the getting the players into the fun as soon as possible. I really do think it's that moment where you're hitting goblins and Steven, you phrased this really well yesterday when we were talking about just that moment where you've like, how can we get the player knocking enemies off the cliff as fast as possible? Like without rushing it or anything like that. Because
Totally.
knocking enemies off the cliff is like the whoa, this is like an anime. It's like I'm like Dragon Ball Z freaking pushing these people off cliff to their death. Like and then getting a rare drop.
It's also kind of like
Yeah.
a puzzle that we don't tell the player and they can just figure out for themselves, basically. Which I
Right,
think is kind
yeah.
of cool. Like, you know, you
So
never
maybe
tell
having
them.
a smaller battlefield for because the goblins is such a wide battlefield, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
But I don't know.
we
Maybe
could add
it's
like
good for
pits
the
of
first
water
player.
in there, or like you know,
Oh,
cliffs going down,
yeah.
or like holes,
True.
like a big crater or something.
What if there's a
Um,
giant like skate bowl? What are those called? Not half pipes, but like
yeah, skate
maybe a
bowl.
half pipe, but yeah, skate bowl.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd
It'd
be
be even
cool.
cooler if you could skate the skate bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, there's just like it's funny how
So
like
many possibilities.
there's so many things to do in like so little time. Dude,
Yeah.
I want to do grinds so bad, so quickly.
Yes.
It's like be able to grind on stuff because that's like the fun of like Tony Hawk. You know what I mean? Like, and that's one of the big fun things in Tony Hawk is like grinding on and like especially when you put in the cheat code to unlock like unlimited balance. And you can like, you know, like grind on the edge of a building and like explore
Yeah.
up into like the buildings and stuff. That's really fun as well. But yeah, are there any other fun moments that are like, or like, can we add other fun moments, or should we focus on this main fun moment? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd say the big fun moment for me personally was definitely getting my first drop, like that notification of the drop. It's like, oh, there's something more I can do rather than just hit things, get items.
Yeah. Now, was that just a normal skateboard drop for you, or was it was it like you got a hoodie drop?
I think for me it was one of the NPC board drops. So rather than like you get the skateboard in the beginning and have the notification play, it's where it's like, okay, well that's going to be given to you. That makes sense. But actually rolling that 1 in 20, it's like, oh, I actually have like rates on things to try and get. So now I'm kind of curious, how much more should I go in order to get these items?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's awesome. I think if I'm thinking about like maybe a moment that might not like that might because that's an example of a moment that is like a positive multiplier almost on like the fun of doing combat. And I wonder
Mhm.
like how people feel when they open up the Powdex for the first time if it's just like too big. Like if there's just too much going on that first page. Like it's just like a giant empty thing.
Yeah, what if I wonder if it would be a positive or negative if you broke it out in ways where when you're on OG Island at the very beginning and you haven't been to any other areas, it only an OG Island section of the POW decks, and it has like a header that says OG Island, and then it's like you see all the stuff to unlock on OG Island specifically, and then when you get to Tory Village, instead of being grayed out, now that's like bright and clear that like you're in Tory Village and you have the Tory Village plus the OG Island unlocked, and then so on and so forth.
Mhm.
And I wonder if you should even make like the Volcano of Riches a different section if you were to do that.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I like when you say that, I think of you know how like when you open up the Powdex now on like a new account, it's just like a bunch of like semi-transparent black rectangles, right?
Right.
Um
Yeah.
like when you said grayed out, that really got me thinking on like what if at first they're all grayed out like where they're like half as transparent as they are now or like sorry, double as
Yeah.
half as opaque as they are now.
Right.
And
right.
then
Right.
like you unlock the goblin or like maybe only the ones that are reachable are like more visible are like more opaque. Gosh, I wish I had like better terms for this. But do you get what I'm
Right.
saying? Like so like that way when the
Yes.
person first opens up their Powdex, they see that there's more stuff to do, but they also see that like right now I have like 1 out of 3 possible drops. Or like it would be like 6 cuz they would have turtle warriors and goblins, and like the idea is that if they get like a skateboard drop, they open up their Powdex and they see, okay, I have like 1 out of the 6 things I could have gotten so
Yeah.
far.
I like Techno's idea. I side with like I'm on Techno's team here where he says it could be like a page per region. I mean, I like the idea of like you scroll down, but even then, yeah, pages that you like flip through, almost like a Pokemon card binder. Where you're like flipping through pages and then each page is like a different region. I think that would help make the goals a lot more attainable, because then it could be like, wow, I finally completed the entire OG Island section.
Yeah, and there could be a
of
reward
the
even for
Powdex.
each sub 1, you know what I mean?
Yes,
Like you get
100%.
and it could be a much more like it could be something that's like less what am I trying to say here? Less of like a flex item, but more of like a
Yes.
utilitarian item. Like
Wait, what does that mean? Like a utility item?
yeah, like a an item that actually has like a use that is like valuable for the
Right.
grind. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you can't really do
Dude,
too
what if
much of
there
that
like
without.
what if there were rare candies that gave? What if you just got like 5 rare candies that you could like level up your POW by 5
Oh,
levels?
that's cool. I love that. I
I
love
mean, you'd
like,
have to come up with a different name, but
stuff that gives your pal XP. I'm like very interested in doing just because.
or maybe you get like 10 pulls of like Skelly Friends Casino slot machine.
we still have to work that one out. Yeah,
I
exactly.
can see that one being akin to like the Brimstone keys. Going
The
back to
Brimstone Kings, yes.
where you have like those key drops and then you just take them there and then you just click the chest in order to open it.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, Steven was debating last night when we were talking about the slot machine better idea. Would it be better if it was a slot machine, or would it be better if it was just literally boxes that you tap and get a random item?
yeah. I
I
would.
feel like
I think
having
it-
a slot machine would like incentivize people like me that have a bit more of an addiction to gambling to
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah, I wonder
But
like
at the same
yeah.
time,
Sorry, go ahead.
at the same time, like I could see it being an issue in like the EU because they have laws against gambling, or even Turkey
Yeah.
where it's just outright banned. I could see that
mean-
being a factor. So it could be similar to like the brimstone chest, where you just take them to that chest and open it, and then you can have those items deposited into your inventory.
Yeah. I mean, whatever we decide on, I do like the idea of having it be kind of like a flashy moment. Maybe like having the slot machine is just too on the nose of like this is literally gambling and kind of takes you out of the game too much. But like even if it was like a cool little like animation or something where like for example like the key is like you could have like the key lets you into this like special room, and in this room there's like a like a big giant chest or something, or like a big bubbling cauldron that like spits out the loot that you get or
Oh,
something.
you know what'd be sick?
Hmm.
What if it was just a room of 1,000 chests all
Oh,
spread
God.
apart,
Oh, and it's like, pick
of
the
them
one.
yeah, pick the one, and literally like you get like literally one of them does have the shiny like Skelly Friend hoodie that's death carbon affected and
Dude,
everything.
Imagine
But
it's like
it's like you
Minesweeper.
have to like yeah exactly Minesweeper.
Imagine like you get like seven chances, and like every time you do one, it like clears out a couple of them. You know what I mean? Like nearby.
Dude,
ones.
I love this idea that D has in the chat a treasure map to like find a high item that's somewhere in the map, like in Wildering Forest or something.
Oh, that's
You have to,
interesting.
like, use the
Scrolls.
Yeah, clue scrolls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when I was getting for some reason I'm like such a my mind for some reason did not think that like mining would be what the earth skill was. So my initial idea for the earth skill was like you have a shovel and like you dig the ground when there's like like in Animal Crossing when you like dig an item out of the ground.
Right.
But anyway,
Hey, it's never too late. It's
yeah,
a cool idea in my book.
yeah, having like dude blood metal
True.
shovel. No, just kidding. But anyway, I wonder like what a blood metal shovel would do. It would probably just like help you dig out the
It'd be
items
like the
faster.
equivalent of like a blood metal hoe in Minecraft. Like a diamond hoe is useless in Minecraft.
Yeah, well, there's also diamond shovel, which which just like digs the dirt faster or whatever. But anyway, let's see. We got blood metal smithing gauntlets win from Mod Ash. By the way, good to see you, Mod Ash. Do you want to join the live stream? I would love to hear your beautiful voice. Do you guys know who Mod Ash is?
It's actually Mod Ash.
Is this the real Mod Ash?
It's not. It can't be It could be. I mean, you never know. Like, I'm willing to like take the 1 in 1,000 chance right now on this drop right now.
Sure, let's do it. Hell no, lol. Not the real Mod Ash. Get in here, Mod Ash.
Yeah. But by the
I
way,
don't know how to
anyone at
bring
any time
them
can
in
raise
here.
their hand and we'll put you in. Like,
Yeah. And I even had people in the stream chat asking about if bugs are fixed and stuff. And guys, you could just hop into the Pow Vista Discord and raise your hand.
Dude, I did want to get into on this
true.
stream because I love dreaming like of
Yeah.
new features with you guys, but I did want to share with you guys what we've done this week as the development team. Phil, if you want, you can be up next after me sharing the stuff you've done on
yeah.
stuff. And March, you can share any ideas you've had this week or anything like that as well after Phil. And my idea was I'd go ahead and share with you guys. Like, sadly, I don't have anything too exciting to share this week because we had some crazy bugs that we had to fix, and we're actually still dealing with certain things. A big, long-standing problem in the game has been just very rare, occasional PAL wipes, which all that is like the metadata, which is the information that the game has on like what your pal's name is, what its skills are, what items are inside of it, etc. That metadata was like when we created the game, we never expected to have like pals, and we never expected to have item metadata. We were thinking like every item of any kind is going to be the same. So like we added this metadata system afterwards, and unfortunately, the code in the game like so far has treated the item metadata and the item ID and the item quantity as like, or I should leave out quantity right now, but it's treated the metadata and like the item ID as like two separate things. But but the beta version of the game now has a new version where that metadata is glued to the item ID, so it can't get separated. So we're still working out bugs in the because this new system also has other bugs, but we're gonna iron those out, and that's what the beta team is right now working on, testing and finding out, and we'll have that soon. No one hates working on boring things like that more than I do. I wish we could just keep moving forward with more stuff, and we are in the background
fun
also,
stuff, yeah.
getting Icefall ready for release. I can leak to you guys the NPCs. I'm just going to leak to you guys the names of the NPCs for Icefall. Here it is. So the first NPC is called a Snow Fox. And this is kind of like imagine like a ground bunny, except it's a ice type fox that kind of has like a blue and pink color palette. Up next is the, I'm pretty sure I wanted to call this like a pangolo or something, but I think I'm just going to go with penguin. But it's like a penguin NPC. It looks awesome. And
Nice.
and then the third one is and this one's just mammoth. The third one's a mammoth. So it has like a cool like trunk and stuff, and it kind of, it's like the size of a gargoyle, and it has like big fluffy hair that goes over its eyes and stuff. It looks very cool. But yeah, those are like the three next mobs that will be in the Icefall when it drops, and those are like kind of like beyond the town. They're like how like beyond the Rancho Bamba town, there's those NPCs up there on the cliff. This is going to be like beyond Icefall, down into the side of the mountain is where these three NPCs are going to be. So I just wanted to, I don't know why I kind of went off on a tangent there, but I wanted to make sure you guys know we're not like giving up on also making game content. We've been a little slowed down by fixing bugs and critical issues. And for example, the big recent issue has been quest cutscenes playing twice, which is just an absolute, facepalm. The idea that like a new player would like open up Pow Vista and it's like just getting the same annoying. First of all, the cutscenes are already annoying as they are. Like now they have to happen twice. Like, it's a nightmare. So, but we got it fixed, and the new version is in review right now with iOS, and it's fully tested by the beta team. Thank you, beta team. Beta tester team, I can't thank them enough for their incredible work, helping us test. Like we wouldn't be able to move as fast if it weren't for you guys. So
yeah,
thank you so much. But
awesome. It looks like Techno has a question.
Come on up, Techno.
Yeah.
Marsh, can you bring him up?
Yeah, I was just now doing that.
Cool. What's up, Techno?
Yo, yo, yo. So with when the new area comes, with like the existing skills, are any of them getting like a new resource? So like, is there going to be like a new ore or fish or anything along those lines, or like log or tree? I mean,
we're definitely going to be having new resources in the new area, but there's no guarantee that's going to happen right when the area comes out, because we just want to like first get the area out, and then we're gonna, whether it's like a frozen pine is like an example of like one possible, like a higher tier tree that's like that you can cut down. There's also Tenoshi can share about some of the new like we have ice puzzles are going to release with Icefall, and there's going to be a mine with more availability. Tenoshi, do you want to share what's going to?
Yes, 100%. And I'm even going to go ahead and share my screen. If I open up Blender here, can everybody see my screen here?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, I can.
Awesome. So this is Icefall here, and the ice puzzles are sort of like in Pokemon. If you've played Pokemon before, you kind of walk on the ice and then you start sliding around, and then you have to figure out like how to get over outside of the ice puzzle, because you can only go in like straight lines. So you have to figure out, what the puzzle is to escape through. And then that's one feature. And then the mobs are going to be over here. And there's even going to be ice involved in the combat, which is one of the really cool things that Steven came up with, is being able to use ice during combat. Steven, Are we still on for that? Is that going to happen?
Absolutely, and it's actually already tested by
Yes.
beta testers and,
I love
and
that.
working in the beta version of the game. So if
Amazing.
if you're a beta tester, you can teleport to Icefall right now. What's a good coordinate to teleport to Icefall, by the way?
Right here.
Yeah, what are those two numbers? I can't, like, it's too small.
195 negative 156.
Okay, so if you type in
195 negative 156.
okay, so if you type in exclamation mark lowercase TP space negative 195.
Negative 195 negative 156.
Yeah, space negative one. Anyway, if you teleport to Icefall, which
Yeah.
you can learn about just by asking people in the beta, and this is if you have beta test access.
Yeah.
You can right now, like in a PvP world, like slide into a fellow player, and it will like trigger an attack. And then
That and
go ahead.
go ahead, Steven. No, go ahead.
Oh,
go
okay.
ahead.
So and then we also have ice on the cliffs. So like once we have NPCs there, which we'll be adding very soon to the beta version, you can knock an NPC onto the ice, and the momentum will like carry out. So like, which I think will be a fun thing for like players to discover is like which I'm kind of spoiling for you guys, I guess, but you knock an NPC onto the ice, and then it kind of like.
Yeah.
I just feel like for someone with no context, that would be a super cool like thing to discover, you know, like just organically.
Right.
Um,
Especially like an enemy like falling so far into the abyss.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys to try that out. But yeah, as far as new, so to answer Techno's specific question, which is like, are we going to get like higher tier resources in the new area? So far, the sadly the answer is like it's not going to be right away. But like we know it needs to happen, especially for fish, and I think trees as well. Need to have those higher tier things, because right now those skills just basically end at level 50. And I think the one thing that's held me back from doing that is just because there hasn't really been a need for like a higher healing fish item, and there hasn't been a need yet for higher tier logs, because it's like. The only point of getting higher tier logs right now is more XP. We need to have like really good uses for those resources ASAP, and it's like on our list.
I think we could use some higher tier fish.
Yeah, like how high? What do you think on it, Techno?
I was gonna say, even if it's like on par with serpents, I think depending on the area, it could maybe have like a special effect or like, you know, a bonus for eating it instead of just healing. So like I was thinking with the lava area, I've been looking up lots of different fish that would make sense. So I saw that Void was thinking like obsidian sharks. I mean that's a cool idea.
Sick.
Yeah.
I was thinking just two of them that I looked up. There's like rockfish that look really sick. That'd be a cool like volcanic looking fish. There's like these things called armored sea robins. Those things look amazing. I didn't even know they were a thing, but I was looking up like what things like live near like volcanoes or volcanic activity, and those are like
Wow.
So I think that would be like a cool looking fish, like you could catch.
That looks like it was made for Pow Vista. It's literally an IRL low poly creature.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
I
awesome.
thought that'd be like an amazing thing, and then it'd be like, you know, maybe it'd be on power or slightly less healing, like a couple, but you know, it'd be like
Have
some
sort of effect.
yeah, exactly.
I love
Yeah.
that idea.
And we could probably also, with some of them, go up healing amounts. I don't think we have like a limit. I was also thinking I had a solution for the roast chicken food item that we were talking about, where I was like, hey, let's make it heal 30 HP so that it's like worthwhile to like go get a chicken and cook it. But I realized that we could do like a RuneScape style, like where like you eat the chicken and it like a drumstick falls away, and then like you eat the chicken again and another drumstick disappears. And then you like eat like the final part of the chicken, I guess. So like it would heal 30 HP, but it would take like 3 bites or like 3 eating actions to eat it. That was one idea for the roast chicken, by the way, just on the topic of food items. But I think we can go all the way up as long as we make sure we're still adding things that make your damage go up, for like the PvP side of things. And also adding more challenging things in the game, like boss mechanics where it's like you need to bring food for when you mess up the boss mechanic.
Yeah, dude. And what if there are some crazy fishing spots where like you're trying to fish, but there's mobs that are aggroed on you while you're attacking, while you're trying to fish.
Wait, would that be?
So
What
it's
do you
like-
guys think about that? What do you like?
I think it'd be cool if it was like a high, like, because it reminds me of like the whole like wilderness, the dark crabs or whatever. You have to go to like that really end game resource area. It's like I think 95 fishing or whatever, and there's like a golem that protects the area. So I mean, I think it's kind of cool if it's like some sort of like super, end game like best like. It's kind of a cool little aspect, like risk reward. Like it's a very good item. It's because it's just like one of the highest healing things. But
Dude, and check this out. What if there's a spot where you had to fish the mobs out of, like there's a shark NPC, like a shark man, and you have to like fish him out and then fight him. And he's just like any other normal mob, but you have to fish him out, and it takes like 60 water to like be able to do it.
God.
That'd be
And
funny.
the shark just like comes and attacks you. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, I gotta
But
real quick.
yeah.
I'll be right back. You guys can feel free to keep talking. I'll be right back. Just letting you know.
No worries.
uh,
So Steven mentioned that we had a place, like people were asking, like, could there be a better place where Emerald could be? So Steven came up with having Emerald near the bank here. But yeah, what are your guys' impressions of Icefall? Is there anything you like or hate about it, just from first impressions here?
I like it. My only concern is that when you knock an NPC off the ice, going back to the combat, would the item drop on the main land portion, or would it be dropping on the ice? Because it seems like there are a couple spots where an NPC could be hit off that a player won't be able to access, or they won't be able to properly reach.
Right, that's funny. So the idea is that if you were skating on the ice, and let's say, for example, that there's an item right here on this tile, or let's use this tile right here. Well, okay, let's just pretend you couldn't get to this tile right here because there's nothing stopping the player. So if there was any item dropped right here, if you were sliding on the ice and you went over the item would stop you. And it would be the friction that stops you. And I forgot which game does that, but it's basically the same as if there was a walkable tile here. The item would just kind of like make it into a walkable tile, if that makes sense. And it's the same mechanic that, have you ever been skating in Pow Vista? And then we could just use this as an example. If you're skating in Pow Vista and then you come across like an item, then your player just stops skating on the item. That's how it would work.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so hopefully that wouldn't happen at all. But if it does, hopefully I think pals are immune to the ice, so they'd be able to loot it if there was like a shiny item that you couldn't get to. That would be rough. That would be so rough if there's like a shiny item in an ice spot. But
yeah,
I
you would
believe
land on
players
it.
will
Yeah,
be able to,
which actually would break the
that was-
puzzle as well. But
it would. It's
Oh,
a
yeah,
way to
that's true.
hack the puzzle.
But I
Maybe
feel
there'll
like
be
that's
some
kind of a
puzzles that
cool. I
require
feel like
that.
anyone who can do that is like deserving of
Yeah.
like hacking the puzzle. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like the
Yeah,
harder way
yeah.
to do the puzzle than just doing the actual puzzle.
Right.
Which, by the way, Phil, one of our beta testers was like, I tried for 20 minutes to do the ice puzzle and couldn't do it.
Is it impossible?
I don't
Is
think
it possible.
I really don't think it's that hard.
Let me
But then
try
again,
it.
I watched you make
Okay,
it, so I
this one. Okay, then you come down here.
let's make
you
the
hit
wiki
this
guide right now
one,
for it.
Then you hit that one. Then you hit that one. Then you hit that one. Maybe was it that they were still invisible? Remember that?
Okay, they
time
were.
when
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was
The rocks
invisible?
were invisible. So I guess that. Yeah, that was
right.
that
will
was
f you up.
the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
That was my
yeah,
only concern when it comes to Icefall, is just how you would be able to get those items that
right.
are impossible to grab, pretty much.
Steven, I'm curious. Do you want to talk about the Guardians?
Yes. By the way, I just had an idea. What if the items themselves slide on the ice? But anyway.
Oh, that'd be. What if it was like the Windows thing that pops around the screen,
Oh,
like floats around? It's just like
You're just
constantly
waiting for it to
floating.
You see it do a kickflip, it's like, how's that working?
What is going on?
you unlock the item character skin where like you get to Like, do you
Right.
play prop hunt? Anyway, let's
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
Let's hear about
Techno,
the Guardians.
Do you have any last? Do you have anything else, Techno?
Yeah, I'll. There was one thing, but
Go Techno. We got to hear it.
this
We got to
is-
hear it.
no. I was gonna. Well, okay. The last thing.
Go for it.
Do you remember the Ratatouille thing that I was mentioning the other
Yes,
night?
you got to share that, bro. You got to share that.
I
It's
wanna
such a
hear this.
smart.
I gotta hear this.
So I was talking with Alex Yogos, another player, and I was just joking around. I was like, because people are like asking for other ways for pals to learn things. Like there's, you can only really learn 4 skills. Well, I guess, and the combats. So I was joking around. It'd be funny if, in Ratatouille, you have the little rat on your head. That, like, for your pal, instead of your pal just pulling out food to cook, he'd hop on your head if you put him in cook mode. And then any food you make, he'd maybe, like, help the success rate by, like, a certain %. But then he would get, a majority or, like, half the XP. So it's like a way of him helping you out, but also leveling up his fire as well.
It reminds me of like Master Yoda on Luke Skywalker's shoulders. Like,
Yeah,
that's what it makes me think of.
I think it would look sick. I wonder, like, I guess it would be a slight technical challenge to make that look not ridiculous, but honestly, we could like mock it up, like, like Photoshop and just see what it would look like first. I love the idea just because it's just like, that would be like a moment where someone's playing the game and they're like, okay, this game's sick. You know what I mean? Like, this game is willing to like do cool things that, you know what I mean?
Like it breaks the unexpected. Like there's no way that pal's gonna
Right.
get on my head.
Yeah.
Like I was,
Yeah. But it also makes so much logical sense for some reason. You know what I mean? Because it's like the pal is getting XP because the pal is the one doing the work. Everyone knows Ratatouille. I love that idea. Amazing idea.
but yeah, that's probably my last one. But I'll listen to this new area you were about to bring
Awesome.
up.
Thank you, Techno, and congratulations once again on getting to 70 electric. That's legendary.
Epic.
For real.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So Tenoshi, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so this is the Fire Guardian. So Steven came up with this idea where, how could we reward players who dedicated their time to like a specific skill and were able to get to the legendary level 100, which we have one player. Is it Zoid?
Yeah, Zoid is level 100 death.
Level 100 death. And, that's the last level. There's nothing higher than that. So that's the peak achievement. So Steven was wondering, what could we do to reward that player? And the idea here is that there'd be this legendary guardian for each skill where, and these are just like the very first mock-ups of what the guardian arenas would look like. So for every skill, when you reach level 100, nature or death or fire, there's this boss arena that you can access somehow in the world where you can fight this guardian, which has its own hoodie set, pal set, everything, shiny variations. And yeah, Steven, is there anything else like to share about this?
No, I think that's pretty clear. I think, do you happen to have any questions for the community as far as what they would want from it, or what their thoughts are on specifically, like maybe when it comes to like, well, let me just give you one example. So we've gotten some feedback that, how come I worked so hard to get level 100 and now I have to do something else to get my reward for getting to level 100? You know what I mean? Should we give them a free Water Guardian hoodie just as and a free Water Guardian board just for getting level 100 water?
I really would consider, as the developer of Pow Vista, Steven, I would consider creating skill capes because that would be sick. Just like
a separate thing from the Guardians.
Zoid, like that's separate. That's immediate, and you can only enter the dungeon if you're wearing your specific skill cape that is associated with the Guardian. So you have to go in with the little water cape or the death cape like Zoid, and like you skate in and you're like, oh crap, here I am. And then this thing freaking one-shots you because it's so strong.
It takes your cape and you have to buy it back.
It's ridiculous. No.
He like no, the animation is like he picks you up like a rancor and like rips your cape off and says like you are unworthy and he throws you out.
And then you get thrown out and you're back at level 1.
You're back at 0 experience. You're like back in your player house, completely wiped. That'd be crazy.
Next step is the binary limit.
Oh my gosh, no, but skill capes I think is the answer, just like RuneScape. I don't know if it's a little too on the nose, but
Yeah.
I think having the skill capes would be awesome,
Yeah.
and it could be a sort of key item that you cannot lose. And you know,
Yeah.
if you're going the guild route or whatever, I think it would be cool that you have to be wearing the specific cape to get into the Guardian
That's such a good
arena.
idea.
And then this
For
guy
sure.
freaking walks off his pedestal and like starts killing you. And
Yeah.
it should be
Ooh.
such a tough boss fight that like you can maybe do 2 of them before having to backing like get more resources, you know?
Yeah,
And that's not
Right
accounting
now,
for like
Pow
Nolly and
Vista,
stuff, right?
Right.
yeah, we could have
Yeah,
certain things that make it so it's like nolly, you know, like maybe certain
Right.
of its fate. Like for starters, I think it's going to be like you can just nolly to like kill it basically. But I
Yeah.
think when we add boss mechanics, which we want to do very soon, there should be, you know, skill checks. And by skill check, I don't mean like skill level check. I mean like there should be things that require
Move speed,
skill to move out of the
dodge.
way, otherwise you die.
Yeah.
Right.
And like things
Kind of
to
like the boss ideas we were talking about before with like Cable Gast, and then the ones I pitched for
Yes.
Embermaw and Paladin.
Should we share the
Absolutely.
cable gas area?
sure, yeah. Now that one,
We just
we definitely
Just
need to change. We're gonna be changing this, I think.
yeah. It's a little not enough room for an actual boss fight.
Yeah, because it's gonna be
Probably,
so
but-
easy to get him stuck, and just have your pal
Right.
kill him. Which I mean, that's not. I mean, you can already get any NPC stuck and have your pal kill him, so that's not really the main point. But
Yeah.
but no. If you zoom in on that, I think. Okay, like let me, because March has a really clear idea in his head of what the arena should look like. What if I just ask March, can you like give feedback on this? And I have my own way I would go about giving feedback, but I'm just curious what March would think.
So I think like I like the little detail of the plus and minus symbol. I think those should be like graded so then they're not
Oh,
holes.
I didn't even see that. That's
Um,
cool.
And it's like a little detail I noticed right off the bat, but like having a little grate on there just so then players can ride over it, similar to like a
Yes.
vent. Just so then there's
Yeah.
some form of protection right there, and then you can't knock the boss into that spot by accident or anything. I think for now this arena would work. Maybe have it 2 tiles wider on the top and bottom.
Yeah.
I'd say the middle is fine because having it 2 tiles wider would give more space for players to potentially not get the boss stuck unless they're using the
Mm.
safe spot method.
Yeah.
Simply because there's not a lot of space to begin with.
Yeah.
I think we should compare the Ember Maw and the Paladin boss rooms for like size of like how much space minimum there should
Right.
be. I think there needs to be kind of a big floor, especially if we want to do. Now, then again, of course, we could be like do something new with this one, but I think
Yeah.
personally, I just like having a like more space feels less claustrophobic. Like you're like it's just a different feeling fighting like, you know, a dragon in a big cavern versus fighting a dragon when you're kind of like in these tight hallways, kind of like a Slytherin. I'm thinking of like a Chamber
Right,
of
the
Secrets.
basilisk.
You know, like think
Yeah.
of Chamber of Secrets. Like my favorite part of that battle in that movie is when they're like in the main room versus like when
Right.
he's like just like kind of, you know,
In the
going around.
tunnels.
Another idea is like kind of like when Luke fights Darth Vader in The Empire Strikes Back. There's like that
Yeah.
part where they're kind of like chasing each other around in like the tunnels, and then there's like the part where they're in that main area, you know, with like the
Yeah.
big vast, you know, kind of scenery. I feel like that just is more of a climactic feeling when you're like in that big vast area, which
Yeah.
you are in a vast area because, you know, but like I just like the idea of having there be less obstacle, like things that are like preventing you from getting from one side to the other.
Yeah.
Because then it's like it's more scary, I think, just on a visceral level, if like there aren't like a million things you could do to just get away from the boss at any time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even if like, okay, yeah, technically in any boss fight you can just run away, you know, but there's just something I think like intuitive about like it's just me and this boss in this like open area, and it's like going to be a fair fight right now. Basically, I don't know, but that's just like my first opinion on it. Already it's looking much better, I think, when you just have those two more open areas.
Yeah, for sure.
I have to completely agree with you guys.
Great.
Yeah.
I love how you done kind of a thing where with the plus and minus, because it's on theme with like electricity, and it's almost like like the two sides of a battery, even when it comes to the middle part, because you have like two sections. I think that is kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think another thing we do, this is just like how I'm picturing it, for later on once we have the boss mechanics set up. We already have that 3 by whatever the length is for the ramps. Just looking at that center portion,
Yeah.
I think we can keep like the positive and negative symbols. That's the word I was trying to think of when I first saw them. Those would be a good starting point for once we integrate those boss mechanics, because we'd want to lose like the top and bottom ramp, other than as ways to get out of the room or get into the room. Since the idea would be like you're starting on, let's say, the positive symbol, and you have to go all the way across on a 5 by the total length of tiles to hit cable gas, and then cable gas would knock you back towards the positive symbol. Kind of think of it like you're attracting as a magnet, and then cable gas is switching its polarity to hit you back.
That's cool.
And you're not taking damage during that. That's just like, again, that's just off the top of my head.
Right.
I like that. I really like that. And like, especially if we somehow introduce this mechanic, kind of like how in Icefall, you have little sheets of ice as you're entering and you kind of learn about the mechanic. Any kind of boss mechanic I want to try to like figure out little tiny ways to introduce that as you're going through the NPCs to get to the boss. So like we could have something like that on the other floors of the power plant to kind of introduce the player. So when they get to the boss fight, it's clear like, oh, this is what's happening. You know what I mean? I'm getting, whatever we end up doing when it comes to the mechanics. You just need like the primary thing is that we just need clarity. Like you don't want to like go in there and die and not know why you died, basically.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Phil, by the way, I just want to interject real quick. What if those middle ramps were also thicker? That might be an idea too.
We could try that. Yeah.
And you could even have the whole thing be wider too. But I'm kind of like struggling to have a true sense of scale sometimes when you're in the map editor, of like how big it'll actually be. So like I always like cross-reference the Embermaw one or the Paladin one for like a rough size of how big the whole thing should be. Because I
like the platforms as they were, like the positive and negative symbol, those were fine the way they were. It's just like the other portion of it that could extend out.
Yeah, that's a good point. You could also have the smaller symbol within the bigger area, but this is like map design by committee at this point.
We're just like, yeah, right.
We're like stuck in what do you call it? What's the word for like bureaucracy? It's like we have like a bureaucracy that's like holding up our map editing.
Let's just,
dude, imagine if your chat had really strong opinions on your map editing, and they were like always telling you, stop.
They do. Yeah, but
they do.
Just for example, this is
already looking much beefier.
Larger. Yeah, it's a lot beefier, is right.
And you want beefy when it comes to boss, I feel like, because like you've built up to this moment. You've already gone on all the little thin walkways leading up to this, and now you get to go to the big beefy walkways. It's like a walkway progression within Pow Vista. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it, dude. This is
great. Then, Steven, do you have anything to say about Gang Wars?
Yeah, let's talk about Gang Wars. So I'm so excited for Gang Wars. I don't know how successful it's going to be. I don't know how much people even want something like this. But I just know that me and Phil could play this thing for hours, like in my opinion, and I think it would be super cool. I think technically the only problem right now is that it might not be fun in like a 1v1 setting if there aren't bots on each team to help you.
Yeah.
And by the way, just to give you a brief overview of Gang Wars, what Gang Wars is I mean, the easiest way, like if I had 1 second before, like the police took me away to jail to like tell you what Gang Wars was, it would be Star Wars Battlefront 2 2005 game mode in Pow Vista. And
Yeah, this is what people have been seeing from the Tory.
yeah,
Tory,
by the way, I moved
Warriors
that out of the way
times.
so you don't have
Oh,
to.
you did? Okay, good.
So like we were gonna add a thing where like a big black wall or something to make it so you can't see. But I decided since we haven't even put anything in that pit yet, I just like moved the pit out of the way where like you can't see it.
Nice. Yeah.
Because it makes Tory basement look so ugly right now. Mod Ash says, does that mean potential for skilling mini games? I love that idea
Ooh,
as.
yes.
I mean, I love skilling mini games as an idea for sure. Like, that right now we don't have anything planned for Gang Wars to have a skilling mini game as part of it, but like, I'm actually
I think that
curious.
should just be like a fun mini game. That as a standalone mini game, kind of like Castle Wars.
Yeah, we
Um,
want more
Yeah,
mini
or
games.
you remember Pest Control? Ooh,
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Ooh,
Pest Controls is
Pest Control.
fantastic.
dude, if there's like a void set, I mean, basically, Skelly Friend is the void set right now,
In a way,
Let's not
in my opinion.
not do Barbarian Assault though.
definitely not exactly. Yeah. So like, we want to find the most fun things. If we're gonna
Yeah.
borrow mechanics from other games, we want to obviously focus on the fun ones. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna mention something Techno's brought up a few times, like the spicy
man.
stews mechanic from RuneScape, and I was like telling him how I had like horrible memories of the spicy stew mechanic. But then he was like, actually, I think it's kind of cool because it's like it's like an RNG based skill boost, and like if you want a certain skill boost, you can do it. It's just going to be a huge time sink, and like it's a trade off type thing. So like,
Yeah.
but the point is, there's so many because we have the huge benefit of building this game in 2025 and not in like the year 2000. So like
Right.
we've seen all these 25 years of like incredible games do awesome things, and so we can
Yeah.
borrow all the best things from them. So we want to do that as much as possible, and then also look out for ways that we can innovate on new games as well, or like new little twists on the games that work.
Yeah, I'm curious, Steven, have you gone down the rabbit hole any further of the idea of berries inside of Pow Vista?
Yes, dude, we can just I don't know, if Techno is still here, I don't want to put you on the spot, Techno, but I would love if you want to raise your hand and just come up and talk about the poison skill. I think that would be super awesome to have you as part of this discussion. Because Techno is really the mind, and by the way, welcome Techno to the stage here. He's the mind behind the poison skill. I mean, it was like a dark night in San Diego, middle of the night. I just see Techno chilling in the voice chat like he always is. I don't know if he was asleep or not, and if I woke him up when I went in.
Might have been.
But it was this like one of these nights where I go in and like I think there were a couple other people there too, and like he shared the initial idea for the poison skill. And so real quick, just to answer your specific question, Tenoshi, about berries, like we want to have like ingredients for this poison skill, which Techno's going to explain a little bit about, be able to be grown through the farming stuff, which by the way, March is kind of like the mind behind farming. That will be a kind of expansion to the nature skill. And this is like,
Sure.
and I hope I'm answering your question, Tenoshi/Phil, because
Yes.
you're talking about berries, and I'm interpreting that as like kind of like in Pokemon Emerald, where you plant berries and you harvest them.
Exactly.
But okay, Techno, can you like share with us like your pitch for the poison skill? Because you just say it so well.
Yeah. So I was like thinking, I wanted some sort of like, potion mechanic in this game, but like to me, like I've seen a couple people recommending it. But I was like, that doesn't really like fit in my head. Like it's a skateboard MMO, right? So like when I think of skateboarders growing up, it's like you got an energy drink, they got the monster in their hand,
Yeah.
right? So like whenever I was drinking like energy drinks growing up, I was always told it's poison for your body. Like this will, this will kill you, right? So I was like, it's like a kind of funny like play on words, like, oh, it's poison for your body. It'd be funny if like you made energy drinks as like the poison skill, and like the big like, I guess the way it would work kind of is like when you drink it, you'd have some sort of like negative mechanic or effect on yourself, but your like trade off is like you're getting some really cool positive effect.
Yeah.
Just like real life energy
So-
drinks.
Right, exactly.
You
It's
should
like,
have kidney
it's like, oh,
stones.
you get that.
Your guys should
Kidney
start like
stone,
walking
like
at like
stat.
1 mile per hour, and it's like the damage is just stacking up, and you have to like go to a doctor
Yeah.
to have them remove the stone.
Yeah, this reminds me of drinking beer or ales in RuneScape, where your accuracy goes down but your strength goes up.
Right,
Yeah.
where they get like little mini boosts and stuff.
Exactly,
Like the
yeah.
lizard kicker gives like a little range boost, but you lose out on others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Techno could share. It goes even deeper than this when it comes to not just basic stat boosts and stat lowerings of stats or stat debuffs. Techno, like, can you share more about like some of the other ideas you had, especially like what kinds of energy drinks we're gonna have and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think like to me, I think this is just like the coolest one, so I'll share it first. And like thematically, I think it fits to a T. So like how Skelly Friend exists in the game.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever actually gone up to him and like seen his HP bar, but you know how he only has 1 HP.
Yeah.
The cool thing in my head is like it'd be funny if with Skelly Friend, like there's an energy drink. So when you consume it, let's say you take, I don't know, 10 damage. You take 10 damage, but the next time you take fatal damage, you would instead survive with 1 HP.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So the cool thing would be like the way to like show off that you have that on you is like, how he's cursed? You'd have like the cursed effects on you because you consume the curse from the energy drink.
Right.
So then the
That's an
curse
awesome
would go
idea.
away once you like die. So like then you'd like, oh, like you die but you didn't die, right? So you came
Yeah.
back with 1 HP. So I thought that was like such like
Yeah, I love
thematically like perfect. Like this is Skelly Friend. This is the death task. Like you're dying, but you're alive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sold me on it right there when I heard that idea.
But I was thinking not just go ahead. I don't know if you had something.
No,
Stu.
go ahead, Techno.
But I was thinking not just like it, because the game is an MMO, right? So it's not just combat. There's like so many things. Like people might not even want to fight things. They might want to skill. So like I'm trying to make it so like there's a variety. It's not just all combat related. I want to mix a combat because I think it would be cool, whether it be for NBC fighting or PvP, if people want to bring it into that. But I'm also trying to do like kind of fun ones or kind of skill based ones. So like here's another one I think that's just the experience that everybody gets to experience. It's called the chicken energy drink. So my idea is like, how like a lot of people are like, oh, it takes so long, or like how long does it take to hatch a chicken, or like not the chicken egg, but eggs in general when you get them. So like, oh, it takes forever. I have to ride around forever. So I think it would be cool that if you'd load up your inventory with eggs, right? And you would drink this energy drink. When you drink it, all the eggs in your backpack get set to like some sort of stage. Like they're either like about to hatch or like, it removes so much time. So then it makes the egg hatching process, like you still get to experience like the oh snap, you crack open what you get, which is like the satisfying part. But you get to, skip out on a lot of the, oh, I have to ride around forever, filling time.
Yeah, I love that idea.
So, it's just like little things for everybody to enjoy. Like, oh, well, there's a reason for me to utilize it. It's not just like a PvP thing or not just a skill thing.
Yeah. Hey, Tenoshi, can you share what you were telling me last night about the idea of being poisoned in Pow Vista and what
yeah.
your idea was? Like, because you were mentioning Techno, the idea that like it damages you, which I love that idea. But we were thinking like, how could we make it even more like unique, I guess, or like more like add a variable, and this could just be for certain energy drinks, not all of them.
Right.
And by the way, I mentioned at one point, like, you drink the energy drink and it like takes away your experience, like your XP as a cost. I'm still, listen, I still like that idea, but I've also like, I'm holding that idea with an open hand and like, I'm willing to like let go of it because the idea of having to like grind your skills so that you could just have like a mana pool to drink energy drinks doesn't sound super fun now that I think about it. But okay, Phil had
You're
this
building up your
incredible idea
tolerance.
about like how it actually damages you, so and like a way to not have it damage you. So go ahead.
Right, and this is heavily inspired. I mean, just straight up.
Straight up,
plagiarism.
don't use the plagiarized word with this being a
Okay,
maybe we'll have to edit this out.
Right, this is heavily inspired.
This is Exhibit A in
by,
court
you know,
for
the old.
Game Freak versus Pow Vista. All right, go ahead.
But in the old Pokemon games, when let's say your Blaziken was poisoned in battle, after the battle, you would walk around and you'd see your screen kind of go bzz, bzz, like every few steps, and every time you saw that happening, your Blaziken was taking one damage from poison. And if you kept on walking around enough without curing your Pokemon, you'd basically get damaged. So the idea is, if you're poisoned in Pow Vista, until you find the antidote or it runs out or whatever, every time every few steps you're walking around, you're constantly taking damage the more you step, the more you walk around.
Okay, so that, I mean, I had a drink that existed, but I kind of I didn't scrap it, but it's like on the back burner. But it could be a reason to bring it back. So I had a drink because of Tory Island. It's water. Like water is very like healing when you think of like a lot of things that's related to that. I was thinking there'd be like a Tory Island energy drink would be like any negative effect or debuff on yourself would be cleansed. So I mean, it could almost be like you would keep that on you, and if the poison was like exactly. So if it was like too much, you're just taking that sip of water, and it cleanses the palate. However you want to.
It could also be like IRL water, where like if you have the more hydrated you are, maybe like the less intense like caffeine is on your like body. Because it kind of like dilutes it, so it's almost like it would dilute the poison, but it would also dilute like the positive effect as well. That might be an idea.
I guess there is one tiny thing I'll bring up that I mean, maybe this is the perfect time to bring it up.
Sure.
So like how with Tory Island, how there's like a bunch of water fountains around the area. I think it would be cool. This is kind of like a gathering reason for the drink. It'd be cool if when you went down, how you go down to the disintegrator, and there's the gang, right?
Yeah.
And you know how there's that whole ice area that you can't like exit, like it's kind of like blocked off. You can't go in that area. It'd be cool if there was like this would be tying into lore too of the Tory people. It's just funny to me. It's like, it'd be cool if there was like a path that you have to walk like a straight line, or it's like a 2x2 for like 30 blocks or 20 blocks or whatever that magic number is, and there's a fountain at the end of it, and it's like the holy, like sacred Tory water that like this is why the Tory people have been there for so long.
Oh, that's
and this
cool.
would be like one of the reasons like you would collect this water to put in the drinks to make the Tory to make these drinks. It was one of the ingredients.
Oh, that's a great idea. Absolutely great idea.
And then it would tie into lore-wise, Go ahead, sorry.
Techno, it's so funny you mentioned like the long, like, basically long path you have to skate and stuff. Because I was watching Dragon Ball Z the other day, and I remembered did you ever watch Dragon Ball Z with the snake way, that Goku has to like travel literally thousands of miles on this like little like straightaway, and then eventually at the end there's like this planet with the master at the end.
Yeah.
And basically, what if in Pow Vista there's just like this giant staircase or something that you just have to walk up that literally just goes on forever until the end, where there's maybe like a waypoint you could activate or something, and then there's some sort of thing. I don't know if it's like people who live in the clouds or what, but that'd be sick.
That would be a cool like region or expansion area. That'd be like,
Right.
oh, you just like wandered upon
We definitely
like
need
the cloud.
a cloud city, like some kind of Bespin cloud city at some point.
Oh, I would love that. Yeah, and like maybe
aliens
an air
and
skill
angels
to go
and
along
stuff.
with it or something.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to say real quick, when it comes to coming up with energy drinks, Techno, is that maybe something that we could also have something that uses like the oil from the oil creek. That might be cool. Like,
Ooh.
you know, like you know when like people drink certain energy drinks, is like, oh, that tastes like you know, like motor oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know what the effect would be, but it's just like an idea to have that as like a one of the ingredients. But I love
Ingredient.
that. I love the idea of like different, like almost like liquid bases for the drinks. And then are you still thinking that like using smithing to make the cans is the move? And should that be like with a mold, kind of like how you make cannonballs in RuneScape, or should it be you smith them on the anvil?
I mean, I kind of like it. Like, I feel like you said, I want to bring this in too. There should be a vending machine. You know, like each it gets added. It's like the starter area. Maybe there's a vending machine by, you know, Torrey or Rancho, and it's like you can get lower tier drinks. And then it's like once
Oh,
you go to
cool.
like the city or what a different area, it'd be like higher tier drinks, right?
That's cool.
I still think because if you like you know, just tying it to RuneScape, right? You can just go straight up buy vials, like some shop will sell them, right? But I believe you can also I don't know, can you make vials? I'm trying to think right now.
No,
I
I
feel
think
like
you have to
with
buy packs of them from NPCs.
but
Wait, can
because
you
my thing
can
would
you
be like,
craft
oh,
them? I don't know.
I'm trying to think. I'm blanking on the glass blow. Okay, you can. I was
Okay.
gonna say with the glass blowing, I think you can make them.
It's just not
So it's
efficient.
like
Yeah.
right. So it's like someone could make them as like or you know, a low starter XP thing.
Yeah.
That's like why with the whole steel thing, it could be like some sort of. I was thinking like different tiered cans almost. Like it could even be like with the different materials we have, like this. The earlier level ones might be
Like a
either
6-ounce versus like a 12 ounce or 16 ounce.
oh, I mean, it could even be sizes. I was thinking material wise, like it could be like you're starting off like little clay drinks,
Oh yeah.
or you go to iron to mithril. You know, like that's what you would need to make these higher tier drinks. My only problem then is like mass making these. If it goes up to like blood metal, would be miserable until there's more resources for them. But
Yeah.
um,
But if we made a place you could buy the cans, then it could just be like, yeah, you can technically make a blood metal can, but that would be really stupid. You know what I mean? It could be kind of like that.
but I mean,
that would be like burning
get-
your blood metal bars.
100%. I think, but like the nice thing is, like, let's say you're quote unquote restricting yourself. It would be a way to do it without like having to get it from players or, you know, buying it from a certain thing. You know, you'd
Sure.
have to make it yourself. So there's
Yeah.
still a way to do it,
Yeah.
but it's not the most optimal way to do it.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest things about RuneScape is that there are these like suboptimal ways to do things that are always like there as an option for people that want to play the game in a unique way. Like I think that's an awesome
Yeah.
situation. Like, you know, like they're not like, oh, they don't like the dev team doesn't think like, oh, you know, like the haunted mine in Mauritania is like, you know, no one even like hangs out there, you know, we need to like buff everything there. We need to like give better drops to the NPCs. Like instead they just kind of like left it as is. And then like, but still like Swampletics was able to make like an awesome like video about, you know, grinding for like a steel warhammer in the haunted mine. Even though, you know, no normal player would ever do that. But anyway, it's just like an example of like how it's cool to make their, like when there are just like different ways to do stuff. I like it.
Well, because it's always like a nice thing to reflect back on. Like, let's say, you know, years later, it's like, oh, I can utilize this, you know, with all the content that's been added. It's like, oh, this actually inherently makes this better over the years because like something else was added, you know.
I
So
totally
it's just
agree.
like being able to, even if it's not that optimal, it's like still giving a way to do things is I think overall positive because you know if there's just no way to do it but like one way and that's the only way, then it's like, okay, well, I literally have to grind this or you know
Yeah.
Yeah.
or I can't get it.
Yeah, totally. It's always great when there's just multiple paths to get there with different trade-offs. That's the ideal skill progression, I think. Hey, Techno, do you want to close out our discussion on this poison skill with like, have you had any further thoughts on the cauldron or whatever item you're going to be using to actually mix the ingredients for the energy drinks?
So I guess I like the cauldron idea. I think a cauldron would be good, or it just depends. Like, or like the way I could see it is like you're in like you got more like vials and you're like mixing these ingredients, you know. But
Yeah, vials could work. I think the only downside of vials is that it might be confusing to RuneScape players of like, this is where the potion is going to be, right? You know, like you think it's in the vial. But I mean, it's pretty clear if it's like, hey, it's an energy drink that like I can see the item icon in the skill guide. It's in a can. I'm just kind of like talking as I'm thinking, by the way. That's why I just contradicted myself. But yeah, like what do you like more at this point? And by the way, like I should actually ask like Tenoshi, March, do you guys have thoughts on this?
think
I
it's
personally don't have any
genius.
thoughts. I like how Techno's like kind of coming up with everything, and then you're also coming up with ideas for it. I feel like I wouldn't want to take away from the initial prospect of it, you know. So I don't really have any of my own thoughts about the skill and what you can do for it.
Cool.
I think leaning into the energy drinks being being the poison skill is just so perfect. It's just like it's so funny. I think it will get a good laugh from like anybody who
Yeah.
because it is totally in that culture. You go to a skate park and everybody has either a beer or like an energy drink in their hand, and
These
they're like
monsters.
poisoning themselves as they like smoke and drink, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that
I
being the
thought-
poison skill is genius.
I was just thinking, you know, I was thinking like, oh, Monster Energy drinks. You know, that's like always
Yeah.
like in my head when I'm thinking
Yeah, I'm gonna pull you.
people at the skate park. But
Right.
it could even be like a cocktail maker, or like some sort of like you know machine that like you would attach the ingredients, and then it would be making these, like you would hook up the cans to it, and then it would like
Yeah.
fill up the cans once you have all
Yeah.
the ingredients.
Yeah. Oh man, this is reminding me of Schedule 1, the game where
Love
actually don't,
Yeah.
I don't know that much about it, but you know how like you have like big shelves of resources and like your the people who work for you are like taking things and you have to like make sure you top up the resources to make sure production continues.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's making me think of like, imagine like you're like in like some kind of factory where there's big tubs of
Like a
resources
brewery.
and you have to like load them up with, you know, like this one needs to be loaded up with like Tory Village holy water. This one needs to be loaded up with, you know, whatever herb that you grow with a farming skill. And then like, I don't know, but at the same time, maybe that's not the best idea. But let me read you guys a comment from the last Q&A, just to echo what Tenoshi just said. This is what someone named True Full Send Gaming 8268 said. Poison equal energy drinks is gold. Laughing emoji. So you can obviously tell that it's a hit with people who hear it. So
Resonates. Yeah.
incredible idea, Techno, and like I'm so excited. We'll figure out the cauldron situation or vials or whatever machine later, but this is definitely going to be part of the game, and I'm very excited to see where we go with it. So thanks so much for contributing that idea and working on so many ideas related to it. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm really excited for the progression and development of it.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're getting here to the end of the Q&A, and I just wanted to ask March or Tenoshi, do you guys have any last discussion questions you want to bring up that are coming to mind, or do you feel like we're ready to wrap this thing up?
There was like someone did kind of or they were curious about farming, so I wanted to explain that real fast.
Yes. Oh, take all your time,
we
dude.
have
I've
it,
honestly
really.
got time. And Techno, if you want, you can stick around, or you can go back to the audience. No pressure either way. And March, go ahead, dude. Take your time. I've got all day.
Yeah, for sure. And at the same time, I'm gonna load up Blender because I'd love to show it off, since a lot of the details are gonna be connected to that. So farming is gonna be that expansion to nature, like Steven mentioned before. What that would look like is that you get seed types that you can purchase from either an NPC shop or gather on your own. Not 100% sure. Let me share my screen now because I just finished pulling up at least what the planter box is like. This is just like a temporary design for it. So you interact with these little plots in a sense. So they're split up in 3 different sections. So you can see you have plot 1, 2, and 3. Not in that exact order. And you would plant the seed that you purchase into the planter. And then in order to get more resources from it, what you'd want to do is come back and water it. So the growth time would be about an hour each, no matter the tier of plant. They're not going to have any diseases like in old school RuneScape. They're not going to die automatically. They're going to be persistent. So you have your seedling that you plant. That's going to be stage 1. When you water that and it goes into its sprout, and then you water that again in that same stage, and then it'll become its more mature form. So if I pull up another project real fast, that's going to be not this one here, this one. So
Beautiful.
you have, like, this is going to be focusing on potatoes again. So you have the potato seed that you plant, and then this is going to be the sprout stage, and then you have the or the seedling stage, and then the sprout stage, and you can see the potatoes kind of like blended in, or it's that same progression in a sense. So completely off. This is the sprout. I had to think about it because originally that box is supposed to be invisible. When you plant the seed, the box will appear, and then when you water it and it gets to the next stage, then this appears, and then once it's mature, you have this. Once the plant is mature and everything, and you harvest it, depending on if you went back and watered it properly, it can range from 1 to 3 of the crop. So in this case, looking at the potato plant, you would get a potato. And from there, you would use them for multiple systems. So something we talked about before was using it as an ingredient for the poison skill. I think I was talking with you and Techno about it, Stephen. And then it'd be tied into a reputation system as well with each location. So each location in the game, OG, Tori, Rancho, and then Icefall, will have their own specific crop. Once you turn in enough of a crop, you get the next level in the reputation. And then once you get to level 5 rep, then you have a ton of benefits from that on top of the previous benefits from previous levels. So with OG Island, for example, its level 5 would be very reduced cost, if not free potato seeds. And then a couple other things as well. I don't remember exactly everything off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, one idea was to be able to
since-
purchase items as bank cards, right? Like imagine like in Rancho
Yes,
Bamba,
that was
purchasing ores as bank cards.
that was the level 5. That's what it was. Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah.
And then going back even to the idea of how shiny boards, like this shiny standard skateboard or lava board or anything, those could be tied into the reputation system as well. So once you get level 5, then you can purchase the shiny variants for like maybe 10 times the cost of the current item. So it'd be
That's
like,
interesting.
it's what, 2K for a board? It'd be like 20K and then 100K for the hoodie. That's just like really just popping that off the top of my head for item costs. But each location would have that, and then you could also sell the crops for profit. So let's say like you buy a seed for 3 gold, and this is just like a simple number. And you grow it, and then you get a single potato, then you can sell that for maybe 5 gold. So you have like a 2 gold profit. Once you go back and water it, then you have a much larger profit on top of that. So depending on if you're being active in growing the crop and making sure that you're getting the more resources of it, you can get your reputation up faster, you can sell it for more gold, or you can have more resources set off to the side for the poison skill, if we were to use them for the poison skill. Currently, my main idea is just the gold's profit and then the reputation system. Basically, think of like the rep system for Corrend before they removed it, where you have the 5 different locations and then you have to complete all the tasks. Rather than having X amount of tasks, you have potatoes to sell, you have seaweed to sell, you have mushrooms to sell, so on and so forth. And then on top of that, you'd be able to get tree seeds via nature. So you would be able to chop down trees and have a very low chance, not like 1 in 10,000 chance, but like maybe 1 in 100, akin to a pal egg, to get a tree seed. And then you could plant those tree seeds within a tree plot somewhere within the world. So you can have like a molten tree over in OG, Tory,
Yeah.
Rancho, just so then you can have that resource available. Then they have their own respawn times. So let's say you chop down a molten tree, then you have to wait 10 minutes to chop it again. And then, of course, you have that variable rate of getting like 1 log or 5 logs, so on and so forth. So you could have it persistent in the world, exclusive to you, not to any other players. So it'd be like an instance resource, kind of like how it is in old school RuneScape, where farming is just instance per player. But having that resource available everywhere, and then you have your plots like within your player base, or you can have special ones outside the player base. And then, if I recall correctly, we're talking about using a cauldron for the poison skill too. This was just in a regular VC, and then having the firelit under it. Let's say like level 4 rep, level 3 rep on OG Island, the flame is permanent within the cauldron, available to the player. At a certain level in the rep system, you wouldn't have to pay to use the cauldron. Those are just like ideas that we were coming up with in VC. Yeah, just
That's
fun
great.
stuff to look forward to.
That's great.
That is so awesome, March. It seems so in depth, and I'm excited in the future when we get to play this like in the game.
I know.
Yeah, I'm excited to have it in the game. I want to expand the crops as well. So
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna do something else other than seaweed for Tori, to be honest. But I do want to do mushrooms for Rancho, and then I was thinking like maybe snow carrots, for example, for Icefall.
So awesome.
That's
It'd be
cool.
something like fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Steven, I was wondering, to close us off for our Q&A today, would you be able to expand? Would you be able to like give any more information to the players about player bases
Sure. Yeah.
and where they are?
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole can of worms to open up. Let me think. So
Maybe-
here's our big
yeah.
problem with just the progress on the player base system, is that it's such a monumental task to get it to where I think it's release ready. I really
Yeah.
need to define better like what the first version of it is going to be, so that we can just get that out. So that, because once the first version is out, then it becomes really clear to us and to the player
Yeah.
base, like what do we want more of when it comes to this thing. And
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately in its current form, it's just a little bit lackluster when it comes to like, we have to figure out, how are you going to unlock new items to place in your base? Are you going to be able to build them yourself? Are you going to like buy them once and then you can place them unlimited times? Are you going to, we know we want to be able to store pals in the base, but what are the pals? Are they going to do anything in there? Or are they just going to wander around and like people can visit your base while you're offline? We know we want people to visit your base while you're offline, and we already have the tech for that done. Like on a test account right now, you can go claim a base behind the pyramid. It's like those weird, like ominous black squares behind the pyramid are the base entrances. We also need to figure out, how does a base appear in the main overworld when your friend has one and you stumble upon it? Is it like just a little cave that you go into? Probably that's what it's going to be. And then
I
like,
just kind of.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go. Feel free to
I
interject.
kind of picture it like the secret bases from Gen 3 Pokemon games,
Absolutely.
where you can just like access them from special little spots.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want. But we also want to make it so that it's very clear to the player that this is not like, that this is a player base, and this is not like, like the entrance to the volcano. You know what I mean?
Right.
You get what I'm saying, right? Like we just want it, even though so like I'm just imagining a scenario like, someone joins the game, they meet someone right away on OG Island, add them as a friend, and then they like see their base, but they don't know it's their base. They might think it's like, this is where I go, and then they go in and they're like, where am I? And then I mean that might be a cool moment, but I want to make sure it's a cool moment. And as much as we can telegraph to the player, hey, this is a player like for example in Pokemon where there's like a little like vine hanging down from the tree, and like that seems more like a player base versus like just having a cave in. I don't know how to make a cave entrance look more like a player base versus a just a standard cave. Is it a smaller cave? What is it? But I am really excited to have these player bases, and I was also thinking I want to do things like you build furniture with the build skill. You can make blood metal furniture. You can make like a blood metal coffee table if you want. All these types of things. I think building furniture is going to be super cool, but I also don't want it to be I want to make sure it's fun and make sure it's worthwhile to do. And so it is a little bit further off than like Icefall and boss mechanics, and the poison skill I think would actually probably come before secret bases. And this is just because I know that like the poison skill is like more achievable but like in parallel we're working on player bases and coming up with ideas for those things. And I'm actually want to just shout out to everyone listening to this, especially if you're on YouTube later on listening to this. If you have an idea for this, I want you to come into the Pow Vista Discord and share it, because like since this recent wave of players, it's become very obvious that like having a hive mind of people thinking about cool ideas for the game is like, that's the path towards like coming up with really cool stuff. I love coming up with ideas on my end too and contributing, but like there's nothing like having this hive mind where we're all, spending portions of our day thinking about, oh, that'd be sick putting in Pow Vista. And it helps just create a bigger landscape of things to choose from. And it helps weed out the things that, are just kind of like, oh, we're just doing this because, we don't know what to do, so we're going to pick this thing and do it. Instead it's like, oh, this is going to be so amazing when this releases and is in the game. So
yeah, I think we have an amazing problem on our hands, which is there's so many incredible ideas to add to Pow Vista. And we just don't have, we can only do so much right now, but it's a great problem to not just, be mindlessly, adding things that aren't, insanely desired by the community.
Totally. And what's cool is because we have, everyone here in the community is like so kind of like tight knit, and like
Yeah.
everyone feels like they can give honest feedback. It'll help us, let's say we add something and it's like, hey, like keeping my cauldron lit to like add ingredients is like not fun. Like someone can just say that and we can, figure out a way to rebalance that, so, that those kinds of things are really great. And I really appreciate everyone here watching this Q&A, and Techno, I appreciate you for coming on the Q&A and sharing your honest thoughts, and March, you as well, and Tenoshi, thank you so much for being part of this Q&A. This has been a great time.
Sure, it's always a pleasure to be able to help out and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just been really enjoying it, the game. So I obviously want it to succeed. So I just want to see where I can help,
Awesome. Well, thank you again. With that, I guess we'll wrap up here. That's been the quickest 2 hours and 15 minutes of my life. Thank you guys.
Sure.
Thank you everyone for being here. We will go ahead and end the event now, and see you all in Pow Vista. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
See ya.
All right. See you later.